Thank the Maker! The Rise of Skywalker footage that was shown to D23 attendees has now been released online, so let's do a breakdown. I'm going to skip the first minute of the teaser because it's all just shots from all 8 previous films to build us towards the conclusion, which begins on Pisana. The gang is all there, including Rey, Finn, Poe, Chewie, and 3PO, and you can see the Falcon in the background. It looks like some sort of celebration is underway, with colored chalk exploding in the air. Unfortunately, it's likely our heroes showing up is going to throw that world in their good times into chaos. Here's a shot of Leia on a jungle or forest world. I think at Celebration we saw a shot from this planet, and JJ mentioned it was near the start of the movie. The more footage I see of Carrie, the more at ease I am about all this. Being forced to use footage shot for 2 completely different stories must have been difficult, but it's looking seamless so far. Daisy Ridley spoke about how strange it was that the scenes they shot years ago still have relevance today, as if it were fate or destiny, so I'm hopeful that Carrie's final appearance in Star Wars will still resonate heavily with all of us. The next shot is of a Resistance fleet emerging from hyperspace. We've got X-Wings, we've got A-Wings, we've got a blockade runner, but we've also got Y-Wings and B-Wings. Again, the gang's all here. I imagine these will be updated models of each ship, and I'm hoping we get to see the B-Wing Mark II, a piece of which has technically appeared in every sequel trilogy film so far. The cockpit of the B-Wing Mark II is used on Resistance transports, and Rose and Finn flew the separated cockpit of one to Canto Bight. There's also a new-looking freighter or warship flying on the right side of the frame. As for the blockade runner, I'm thinking that's going to be the Tantive 4. There have been other shots released at Celebration and D23 that involve blockade runners, and it just seems to be getting an extra amount of attention for it to just be any old ship. I think it will have some significance to the plot. But moving on to the next shot is a number of Star Destroyers against a stormy sky. And these are not First Order Star Destroyers, but they're Imperial class. The way they're set up gives me the feeling like the Empire has a hidden fleet out in the middle of nowhere. Maybe it's what the Empire left behind out in the unknown regions as they transitioned into the First Order after Operation Cinder. Or maybe it's something completely new. Maybe Palpatine had a contingency plan for his contingency plan. You can barely make out what looks like a red stripe on those Star Destroyers, which matches some red detailing on the very brief shot of a Star Destroyer in the first teaser. Maybe this is the fleet the Sith Troopers call home. Next is a shot of Finn and Janna aboard some ship. It looks like it's being piloted by a member of the Resistance, so I want to guess that this is a B-Wing cockpit or the inside of that new freighter from the previous shot of the Resistance fleet. The outside of the ship looks like it's kind of stormy, so maybe their shocked expressions are a reaction to all those Star Destroyers. Here we have a droid, and you might not recognize him because of the red eyes, but it's C-3PO. I think the instinct here is to imagine that he's gone evil or something, which is fair. 000 is a 3PO model droid with red eyes, and he's literally the most evil droid ever conceived in Star Wars. But I'm gonna guess that this is just a new mode for the droid that we've never seen before, maybe like a diagnostic setting. 3PO has seen a lot over the years, and his memory has been wiped at least once at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but the C-3PO one-shot comic makes it known that those memories aren't completely gone. Maybe there's still some way to access them, and that could be what's happening here. Next, we see some sort of orbital bombardment hitting a snowy, mountainous planet. I think this is Kojima, the snowy, mountainous planet briefly seen in the first Episode 9 teaser, which apparently has some connection to Zori Bliss, as it's the location of her Vanity Fair picture. Who is attacking the planet and why? I have no idea. Now we're back on that forested planet from earlier with Rey as she trains with her lightsaber. There is a training remote floating nearby, but I sense some frustration or anger as she throws her lightsaber at it and misses. It cuts through some trees and then she calls it back to her hand. I think these shots are the most this forested planet has looked like Endor, and since we know we're seeing some Death Star remains, it makes sense that we would see the forest moon again. I've just been trying to not get my hopes up, but all the ferns and the kinds of trees surrounding Rey really feel like Endor to me. Bring on the Ewoks. I also want to point out that Rey has got some sort of red ribbon attached to her arm. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe a bandage on a fresh wound? I'll come back to that. Cutting back to what I think is, again, Kojima, Kylo walks away from his TIE Interceptor and ignites his lightsaber. This looks like the TIE that Rey flips over in the first teaser and not the TIE Silencer from The Last Jedi. The cockpit looks more rounded, although the wings look the same. But then we see Rey and Kylo fighting on a metal cliff. To the left you can see the remains of a turret, and this just has to be them fighting on the remains of the second Death Star, which is awesome. I'm going to go out on a limb here and make a completely wild guess, but I get the feeling that this is actually very early on in the movie. If JJ is saying that forest scene takes place early on in the film, what if immediately after the crawl we cut to our heroes approaching what's left of the second Death Star? It would be a very Indiana Jones kind of opening where we just jump into the exciting conclusion of an adventure. The gang all go inside, they get what they're after, and then they're confronted by Kylo Ren and they ultimately escape. However, while they're inside, Rey gets some sort of wound or cut on her hand that she later bandages with that red wrap, but the cut could wind up as an opening or vulnerability for the Emperor's spirit to exploit. That all sounds very off the wall as I say it out loud, but I'm just throwing it out there. Because after we cut to black, we hear the Emperor say, "Your journey nears its end," and that's when we get to the big shot everyone's been talking about. Rey's got a red, double-bladed lightsaber and she's wearing all black. The lightsaber folds in the middle and then hinges out into a single staff. That's new to live action, but we've seen that style before in the Clone Wars wielded by Pong Krell, and in Star Wars Rebels wielded by the Jedi Temple Guard in A Vision of Kanan's. It's interesting to note that Rey's red blades are unstable, exactly like Kylo Ren's, which indicates two cracked kyber crystals. Thematically, that was always meant to show Kylo Ren's instability, so it's possible that it represents the same thing in Rey at this moment, that she may be given over to the dark side now, but there is still hope and conflict within her. But there are so many questions surrounding this shot. Is this even real? Is it a vision? If so, whose vision is it? Her vision? Kylo's? Is Rey possessed or influenced by the spirit of Palpatine? Or does she just straight up fall to the dark side all on her own? Or is this her clone, Rey? Who knows? Also, where is she? The color scheme feels like Kojima, but it looks like she's inside some metal interior. So let me just throw out one more of my wish list pipe dream wild guesses and say that she's in Darth Vader's castle. I think that's unlikely, but you can hear Vader's breathing immediately before these two shots. I think I'll have to do a separate video about all the possibilities of Dark Rey. Daisy expressed surprise that this shot was included in the footage, but it really is the perfect teaser. This will keep us talking for a while, at least until mid-October when we will likely get the next full trailer. But that's everything I noticed in these new shots. If you caught something I missed, put it in the comments so we can keep the analysis going. And let me know what you thought of the new footage. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.